Hey there, Feud fans. We are talking about episode 6, Hagsploitation, or what I'm just calling F you, Jack Warner. Stay tuned. So creepy.
It's very creepy. This makes me want to like just dance.
Slow dance in a sad way.
The last dance, if you will.
What a sad episode.
What is up, Feud fans?
Hey
everybody.
We are very excited. We are back once again for the 6th installment of the epic feud between Bette and Joan. I'm your host, Alana Jordan. You can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan and on Instagram at That Alana Jordan Girl. And today I am joined by two of my favorite ladies.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
Hey everybody, I'm Lisa Mason Lee, and you can find me everywhere at Lisa Mason Lee.
So this episode was interesting because I feel like so much happened, but also not as much happened as in other episodes, but still like more did.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
It was a lot, but it wasn't a lot.
It just went by really fast. It felt like, wait, that was it? That's the end? I need more.
It made you wanting more.
Agreed.
But it was such a good episode because I remember watching it. I had to keep going back and rewinding.
Yes.
I'm like, wait, what did they just say? What did Jack just do? So it was a really good episode. Great
love
episode.
this one. How are you feeling this
I'm
one?
loving it, and I'm loving the John Waters cameo.
Yes.
I had no idea that was coming. Did you guys
John
know?
Waters as William Castle? No, I had no
Pretty
idea.
awesome.
That was just a nice little treat for us.
Thanks, Ryan.
Which was awesome too, getting to see the Straighjacket trailer, which was almost shot for shot a recreation of the actual trailer.
I love
Even
that.
down to them saying like, "Warning, there will be axe murders." Like that was a real thing in the trailer, so it was
That's
so cool. I'm
awesome.
like, at this point, I'm like, look at them just teeing up these actresses, like, give them all the Emmys.
Yeah.
Shower them
Let me
with
tell
Emmys.
you, Jessica Lange, I mean, even when she was doing the trailer and she's playing Joan, she's such an amazing, I'm like, these women, her and Susan Sarandon, if they don't get an Emmy, I don't know what.
It blows my mind. They're so
This show
good.
needs an Emmy. They're just so authentic and so on point with Feud and all the facts. It's just so dope.
How cool would it be if this was like the first time if they could tie for first place and have for first place, like they rank the Emmys. If there was two and they both got it and they shared it, how cool would that be?
That'd be pretty awesome.
Break it in half.
Yes.
Like Mean Girls.
Yes. Just full-fledged.
Or like Adele at the Grammys, I don't know.
She donated that to Beyonce in spirit. That'd be pretty awesome if the both of them can come up, because that would show women coming together, because they're playing two women who hated each other. So that'd be awesome to see these two come together and share a special moment like that, because they're legendary actresses. Why
Exactly. I'd be all about it.
And the
I'd
feud
be
continues.
all about it.
not? Always a feud.
So at this point, basically the ladies are thinking they're going to get a whole bunch of offers and everything. Not really that much has happened. 9 months has gone by. The only thing that Joan has gotten is Straighjacket, which also, that was a real thing too, that when she did the promo and they handed out the little plastic axes,
Yeah.
that was real.
That's awesome.
I heard.
That was pretty awesome. I'm like, Joan, like, I know Joan's upset, but I'm like, bruh, you got a movie. You know, a lot of people weren't even getting movies, but you are on a movie, and her insecurities come in, of course, when those young ladies come up with the axes, because Joan wants all the attention to herself. So, of course, she feels bad. But I'm like, you're in a movie right now. You're actually acting. You're not sitting home.
I think that was probably a little exaggerated for this show,
Yeah.
too, just because she had agreed to all the promo beforehand. So,
And to do the tours. So I'm like, okay.
Right.
And I feel like she's
upset.
thinking like anything is, and she still is feeling all highfalutin because she's not on TV.
Exactly.
And Bette has wagon trains, so she's like, well, I'm in the theater. You're like, you're
I have
bouncing
an
plastic
Oscar.
heads down the...
That's not mine, but I still have the Oscar.
Oh my God, I loved that line when when Bette was calling out Joan and was saying, and then she went to go and pick up this Oscar. the winner still has its seed.
Joan is not letting that Oscar go.
No.
I mean, apparently we know that she gives it back, but it took her some time to give it back. But I can just picture Joan sitting in her house with the Oscar, like holding on to it like it's her baby. Like, no, you did not own that.
Losing it, man.
She's crazy.
She's throwing faces at Mamacita.
But let me tell you, I love when Miss Mamacita stood up for herself.
Yeah.
She's like, you are not to throw anything at me, and the next time you throw something at my head, I am leaving you. I said, bravo,
Then
Mamacita.
you will have nothing.
Bravo. Mommy Dearest coming out.
Yep.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So happy that my girl stood up for herself, though.
I loved that. I loved seeing Mamacita's story arc. in
Yes.
this too.
Yeah.
Like, when she was first introduced, I felt like she was going to be kind of this little sidekick character, and she has been such an empowered woman throughout all of this, too, that I'm like, girl, get it. Get it, Mamacita.
I love it. I was just happy that she stood up for herself, and Joan's like,
Me
I'm
too.
sorry. No,
You're
don't do
always
that.
sorry.
You're always sorry. Do it again, you will have nothing.
Ugh.
So that was a really great moment. Shout out to all the mamacitas in the
Yes,
world.
which
yes.
we need more, especially in this, ladies sticking together, because we see a little, behind the scenes look at Jack Warner talking to,
Here we
to
go
his
again.
guys, and he is upset that they think that the New York Times have coined the term Hagsploitation. Because he is so proud of this term that he has come up with because of this genre
Jack
he
is
feels he
nuts.
has created.
Yeah, with his 2 original hags. So he says.
The worst.
I love what
Yeah.
he says when he's talking to Bob and he's trying to get the 2 ladies, and Bob's like, I don't want to do it again. He's like, if you think it's twilight for us, it's midnight for them. Like, it's over for them. I'm like, Jack. And then, because Jack Warner is Warner Brothers, and he's like, do you see any other brothers standing here? It's just
One
me.
of my favorite lines, yeah, when he's like, I'm the last dinosaur and I'm up to my tits in tar.
Like, Jack Warner's a crazy guy. He has the most
God.
amazing quotes ever.
He has the best quotes. I love it. But yeah, he's just,
With the hags. How do you guys feel about that? The hags.
I hated that. Especially, I love that the one guy calls him out and he's like, my mom says they're kind of degrading. And instead of being like, oh, maybe they are, he's like, boom, yes, exactly, they're degrading. Let's degrade these ladies because people
Hagsploitation.
love watching their
Hagsploitation.
idols be ripped down.
Yeah. Isn't that
Like,
something?
Jack Warner is crazy.
And then he crawls back to old Robert.
Oh, that was an amazing
Which
moment.
I absolutely loved. Yeah, the first when he is talking to Bob and trying to put Bob in his place.
Oh.
But then ultimately, Bob needed some good stuff this one. but-
Yeah. Bob
Yeah.
finally grew some balls a little bit.
Yes, and he even flat out says, he's like, I came here to get my balls back.
It's like, you hear that sound?
Love that.
You
Hear
get
him
my
clanking?
balls back. It's the most amazing thing because, poor Bob, he's been getting the low end of the stick, and Jack is just so horrible towards him. Because remember, like the guy says, you banned him from the lot, and because he didn't want to do the movie, you got rid of him. So it was kind of awesome to see Jack crawling back, and
Yeah.
he doesn't want to make it seem like he was begging him, but
Yeah.
he was low-key begging him.
Sure.
And I was just so happy that good old Bob stood up for himself, and he's like, I'm not going to take this from you. I have other people that I'm going to be partners with to
Daryl
do this.
Zanuck, just straight
Come
up. Daryl
on.
Zanuck, who also, which that's like the lowest blow he could do because Jack felt that he had betrayed him.
Yes.
And so
Jack
then
feels like everybody betrays
yeah,
him.
I know, right? It's like, oh, because you're such a great guy, Jack. Like, what's the common denominator here, buddy? You're the worst.
Sure.
But yeah, I love the just F you, this is my genre. And him just going off on his whole, like, you questioned me, you berated me, you made me question myself. Then
old
just,
Bob. Proud of
boom, didn't come here for a cigar, buddy.
Yeah.
Take that, Jack. Take
Loved
that
it.
and suck it. Sorry. I just when I
Suck
was
it like the cigar.
exactly when I was
Turn
watching it, I was just
down.
clapping my hands because I'm like, finally, you get a backbone because
Yes.
the women kind of took advantage of him. Everyone else was taking advantage of him. Jack Warner, old Blue Eyes. So I was so happy that he was able to stand up for himself.
Dude, unfortunately, though, we see Bob is just having some real problems with his personal life, too, because the first Bob and his wife are, having a little problem in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Just the first little inkling that there's going to be some problems to come.
He couldn't hang.
Yeah.
Harriet's like, I want a divorce. Let's end this right now. Which kind of sucks because I mean, I get where she's coming from because, like she says, you are happiest when you're making these movies, and I'm not there with you. Your family's not there with you. And I just felt like Bob's people were just always, excuse my French, shitting on him. And this was the moment where his wife's like, oh, and by the way, I want a divorce. And he was so happy about this movie because he's
he
like...
invited the family, gave the kids parts and everything, invited her to come to Louisiana, so...
That kind of sucked. I guess she was like, it's a little too late. And plus, he was having the affairs.
Yeah.
You can take what you
I was mad at him, you know, when he was hooking up with Betty and Harriet was still in the bed that episode,
That's the
2
only
episodes
thing
ago.
that I'm like, I don't think that really happened in real life because, and I hate to say this, the real Bob Aldrich was kind of gross.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Betty would, I think she would have been like, oh, that's cute, Bob.
Really?
Yeah.
But then you never know with these
You
ladies.
never know. You never know.
Because remember,
I know they were good friends, but I don't know if Betty would really be like, yeah.
So you think they use that as steam to kind of get Joan a little bit more pissed off at the whole situation?
Yeah, I feel like.
Because Joan and Bob slept together back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Right.
But by that point, it's like, oh, man, like, he didn't really age that well.
Yeah, he really did.
But, yeah, that's rough, man. Like, 23 years, and then she just turns, and he's like, why don't you want to be part of my movie? Because I don't want to be part of your life.
Oh, that was hard. It was like a stab in the heart.
Shots fired.
It's like, Harriet, tell him how you feel, girl. She's like, you know... a person can take so much. Not only were you having affairs with me, you're sleeping with your co-star. I'm sitting here waiting for you. I hear about the disrespect in the streets with you sleeping with these other women, and I'm your wife, and I've been holding you down for this long. Enough's enough. And like she said, she's like, I don't know what's gonna happen with me, and if you stick around for this, like, you kind of could be wasting your time. I don't know. I feel bad for Bob, but then again, it's like he was no angel here. So
No.
I don't know when I lost my life, but I'm gonna get it back. But not with you.
Womp,
God, Harriet, just twist the knife a
Bob's
little bit
face.
more.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm like, legit, Harriet has been the one holding it down this whole time. And she even called out Bob and was like, you've been all bummed out, less because of your flops, more because you're upset that your biggest hit is a lady movie.
Yeah, and it's
Screw
successful
you,
because
it's
the
a
women are in it.
very big success. Enjoy it. All these people, I'm like, enjoy what you have.
Exactly. And
ungrateful.
They're so ungrateful. I feel like this episode was kind of like the episode where people are either taking a stand or it's like a breakup episode, because you see with Harriet and Bob, Bob is standing up to Jack.
Everybody has their awesome moment and then their breakdown moment.
Yeah, Mamacita and Joan, and it was
everybody
a lot.
in like a really good, and then poor Hedda shows up. Turns out Hedda has had a heart attack. This is everybody's kind of swan song. Everybody feels like they're on the way out. They're very aware of their mortality and the mortality of their careers. And so Hedda point blank, comes over one, Joan thinks, to say, this is the twilight of my career.
Right.
She's been focusing on all of the careers that she's destroyed and the real repercussions that she's had. I mean, there were the people who have cursed me, sued me, and offed themselves.
I was
and
like,
everything.
girl, she actually enjoyed it.
And I felt good that I contributed to our moral economy. You're like,
ma'am, that's why you had the heart attack. That's not a very nice thing. I'm like, the people who killed themselves?
Right,
You're happy about
you
that?
shouldn't be proud of that.
and her heart decreased 3 sizes that day.
And it's crazy because then you kind of feel bad for her, and then all of a sudden she comes and she hits Joan with the good old little blackmail, like, oh, and by the way,
By the way,
just to let you know, there's some rumors going around that you have a stag film, aka one of those pornographic films that the young ladies had to film in the 1920s when they were trying to get some money.
Yep.
If you want, you can go out with a bang. Like, girl, we were just bonding over your heart attack. How dare you come in my home and try to kind of blackmail
talk
me?
about going out with a bang because of a previous bang. That is
Exactly. I love that. I love that. You're gonna try to use my previous bang and try to tell me I should make the most out of this and sit down and write an article?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. This is unclear, though, as if this really happened or not. There were 2 different movies that she rumored. Yeah, the rumor was that she was in one called The Casting Couch and one called...
wow.
Yeah, and one called
Come
The
on.
Velvet Lips.
The Velvet. But what I love,
Yeah, I did hear
Yeah,
that.
which
it's
was-
not confirmed, but like her first husband, I believe his name is Douglas Fairbanks Jr.
Yeah.
Was like, this is something that she told him. And then I think they were on their honeymoon. Like, this is a thing, I just want to let you know. But because this was shot before, like in the 1920s, there's no film, there's no photos. So, and then her second husband said that there were people who would call, and blackmailers who would call to talk about this film.
Yeah.
So, and this is what they told the people that they were doing the biography.
Warner Brothers notoriously would go and buy up all of the copies of all of these movies for their actresses because during the contract
Yeah.
player days, they were, that was their entities.
Yeah.
So they would go back and buy all of these movies and have them destroyed.
I was like, I wonder if it's low key if it's something at Warner Brothers and someone has it in a vault somewhere.
I feel like they probably, it would have been out by now. So
This
I
is
feel
very
like
true.
it probably, they just destroyed all
Yeah,
of them.
lucky for
But I think
John.
it did exist. She kept denying it,
Yeah.
kept denying it, and kept denying it. But I'm like,
The casting couch.
Well, that's when we learn about her brother Hal.
Good old Hal.
That was a little bit of a shocker, huh?
That was intense.
That was like her old dark past, she had to go visit it, sesh it out.
Hal wanted that money. He also was a part of it, but I love because it brings
But
up her
did he?
past.
Did
It's like he
he?
really didn't. I think he just wanted to stick it to her a little bit, and
Yeah.
I love that he kept calling her Billy, her nickname.
Oh, I
and
loved
I think it was
that.
just big brother, little sister, who they were just going back and forth with each other, and he also came out to be a star, and she helped him a little bit, but not really.
Yeah, he said, you hired me, or you got me a job as an extra playing a clown.
Yeah.
That sounded, the hurt in his voice,
Yes.
like that's all you could do for me?
Exactly.
And you're
But-
Joan Crawford?
And then he also brings up the fact with her mother, but remember she talks about her mother kicking her out when she's 12 because allegedly she says to him, you were the one who told on me with, I think she calls him Daddy, I forgot what
Kaysen or
yeah,
something?
Daddy Kaysen.
Who was that?
This is the man, her stepfather, who she slept with.
That's who
Yeah.
at 12.
That's
so
what I
it's like
thought.
she's mad at Big Bro for either blowing up her spot, and then he was really close to the mom because he's like, how dare you treat our mother like this? And but I also love that he's like, I'm proud of my little sister. I do watch your movies, by the way.
yeah,
God
but
damn
he's
it.
still blackmailing the crap out of her. And then
Dysfunctional.
initially when she's like, I don't have any money, which we then see, the turnaround after
Right.
this new film that comes in that is not really new. This
Right.
was, pitched before, but Jack Warner's basically asking for an exact replica. Like, you're asking for lightning in a bottle again.
Yeah, exactly.
You're asking
Like,
for
how would that work?
exactly whatever happened to Baby Jane. Whatever happened to Cousin Charlotte?
The same
Cousin
cast.
Charlotte in Louisiana.
Like, let's call him Charlotte, Baby Jane. Like, that is not gonna work.
And then they even, which actually they had originally offered the role to Ann Sherman. Ann Sherman was originally being considered. That was a real thing.
Nice.
And then Jack Warner really did say, no, it needs to be Joan again. Originally, Joan wasn't going to be considered in this one. Bob and Betty were going behind her back kind of to do it.
Ooh,
Yeah,
wow, imagine how that would have played out.
Yowzers.
Scary.
But I loved too seeing that montage of
Yes.
Bob talking to the two ladies,
Yes.
and then both having their lines could have been interchangeable about each other and about themselves.
Yes.
Where we see the direct parallels again of how they're basically in the exact same situation.
Yes.
Neither one of them wants to be pushed aside. I'm seeing it's a joke now. And the actual line, I wouldn't piss on Crawford if she was on fire.
That's my favorite quote.
That was real. Betty really said that in real life.
I believe it. Favorite quote. Betty Davis is the real MVP. That is my favorite quote. I even have it circled. That's how much I
Original
love it.
shade, and that is an actual real line.
I
that
love it.
Betty said about Joan.
I also love when they're doing the table read and Betty gets upset and she leaves and Joan's like, I can read for both parts.
Oh, that was amazing.
Oh my God,
awesome.
Amazing.
so good. Now the table read I love too because we really see Betty standing in because in the back and forth of what they wanted,
Right.
we see that Joan asked for top billing.
Yep.
Again, happened in real life.
Right.
She asked for top billing
course.
over Betty. But Betty, smart, asked for creative control. And we see in the read-through, while Joan is just trying to contribute anything, and she's asking about really dumb things like syntax and are there too many ellipses? Let's change
That's
them to a
so
semicolon. It's like, woman,
Ma'am, quiet and drink your Pepsi Cola.
drink your Pepsi Cola in silence.
Be
Enjoy.
quiet. But I love she shows up camera ready and there's a photographer taking pictures.
And Betty is there to work. Like, she's not there to look glamorous.
Shows the difference between the two.
Right.
I love it.
And when they show up, Betty's like, I'll speak for the both of us. And Joan's like, okay. And I like how, sorry, it's kind of funny how Joan throws her under the bus when they get to the table read.
Immediately.
Just
Well, I
start
think
throwing under her little by little.
Betty kind of shot herself in the foot when
Yeah.
she was like, I don't want it to be this hokey, embarrassing thing, like what you just did, basically.
I was like, oh, Betty, you were so close to getting along, and then when she said that.
So much. You knew better than that. And then meeting outside, and saying that if we go in with a united front, if they had at any point been a united front, they would have gotten everything they asked
everything.
for.
Yes. And it would have been so successful. And these two women would have got all the deals, I think, coming in. They would have got more movies, but because Jack and Bob couldn't stand working with them and the stress. And you're working
Nobody
with
would
the
ask
same cast.
Brando to do this. Well,
I love
Brando isn't
that.
begging for roles on Wagon Train.
Oh.
Shut up, Joan.
Joan.
Shut up.
These
Shut your
ladies,
mouth.
they would have just been quiet, and I hate to say it like that, but if they would have just
Right.
participated and did what they had to do, they would have came out on top. And if they would have been together
As a team.
would have been. They're already legendary, but they would have just got so many more
They need
roles.
to just talk things out, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's so sad that one conversation could have probably ended this whole feud, and they just
Seriously.
could not.
Can
But
we
I do
all
love
just
that
get along?
It's all could have been friends. Yeah, I do love that we see too Betty yelling, "Change the title"
I love it as she's walking out.
as she's out, which they changed the title because of the song that was composed that started with "Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte," where they're like, "Oh, that sounds better."
Yeah, whatever happened to.
Interesting.
Come on,
Yeah, it's like, come
Jack.
on,
That was
come
not
on.
a very smart choice. Can't have whatever happened to Baby Jane.
But it
happen
was
to Cousin Charlotte.
literal, and for the
Yeah.
public to understand that it's in a second installment. It's
Yeah.
a part two. See, I didn't even know Hush Hush was a part two, in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just didn't work. Which
Oh,
I'm
Jack.
sure we will see
Yeah.
In the future.
more and more, which I cannot wait to see
I'm so
as this
excited.
dives into this story more.
And then, did you guys catch though that Hal had basically said there was no movie before he got
Yes.
wheeled away into surgery?
Yeah, which
It made me
is
think.
very ominous that
I'm like, is he just saying that just to say it, or
Right.
he's being super creepy? Like, there is no movie. I was just using you for the money, or I
Right.
actually still have it,
Right.
But just to make you happy, because he says, he's like, you're always gonna see yourself as everyone else as I seen you, or as Mom's seen you, as this rotten person on the inside.
We're
Yeah.
both rotten trash. she
Yeah,
said.
rotten
basically,
trash.
yeah, like he can call it as you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot. Like,
Yeah.
there is no movie. You said it yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure.
And like he said, I thought you had no money. Then all of a sudden, here you
Yeah.
come with the money, because there is no movie, like you said, right? There's no movie. So it's one of those things where I think he's trying to, like, poke
Yeah.
her a little bit and play with her insecurities to get her to be like, okay, there is a movie. I'm like, oh, Hal.
Well, but she does say that she's got this offer, and I think Hal's basically just like, even if you have this movie, it's not going to happen, Joan.
It's not gonna happen.
Like, this is the end of your career. Give up. And she just cannot accept that. And I love her scene with Mamacita talking about how, what am I going to do if I don't do this movie? She finds out that her brother has died in his surgery.
appendix
his appendix
exploded.
burst.
Yowzers.
And Mamacita is, saying sometimes the emotions are too strong. You
To
can't
cry.
cry. She immediately calls
The
to
bank.
just
The
say,
To
cancel the
stop
check.
that check.
Stop
I knew
payment
it.
on the
I
check.
felt that coming.
Such a Joan. Let me go
Like,
to the
she's
bank and
gonna
stop
cancel
that
that
check.
check.
And the thing that, and she's less upset about the death of her brother than she is about the potential death of her career,
Yeah.
That's sad.
which is, so narcissistic, so just ridiculous, which we really see what she values
Right.
in that too, when Mamacita is saying, okay, well, the silver lining is now you don't have these expenses. You don't have to pay off your brother. You
Right.
don't have to do this movie
Yeah.
that you're not happy doing. And she's like, I would rather torture myself doing a movie that I hate than do nothing. Because what am I going to do? Just sit here and think about how I used to be awesome?
Think about all the memories. I just love that. She's on this movie she hates doing. She doesn't get, the driver doesn't pick her up at the airport.
Oh, she
doesn't
gets
get in the
so
suite
upset.
that she wanted.
But even Mamacita
Yeah.
telling her, you can hang out with all your new friends. There are
You
people
get
who love you.
invited.
You're invited to things. And she's just like,
It's so crazy.
I might as well be dead.
This is what it bothered me. These women are so legendary, and they're getting this success still. You're getting invited to all these parties, but you'd rather sit at home and weep and be like, oh, whoa, no one loves me. obviously you're a legend in this game.
Yes.
And Mamacita's like, you're getting invited to the parties. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Be aware of the love
They
that you
don't know how to
have.
handle their success, what we talked about last week.
Exactly. They can handle
No.
Yeah, they can't handle success. But now we're seeing the failure aspect is somewhat even worse. Which I love that we even get the direct parallel of her being so just ridiculously dramatic with her brother in the hospital. And he's like, "Are you here to smother me?" And she's like, "You're already dead to me anyway."
I loved it.
Yes.
So dark.
And then he actually dies.
That was
And her
sad.
response to Mamacita after is talking about herself. If I'm not working, I might as well be dead. And it's like, baby doll, you just did this exact same super dramatic, you're basically dead to me.
Exactly.
And then the literal death, that isn't going to trigger something like, hey, maybe when you're actually on your deathbed, get
Something.
it together, Joe!
Get it together. Your own
You still
brother.
have time. You
Spoiled.
have time now.
Yeah.
Such a narcissist.
She's
Enjoy
making
the
Betty
rest of
look
your
good.
life.
She is making Betty,
Betty
look
looks
good.
sane, smart, like she still has it together.
You know, and
You
good,
know.
and you know, and Betty working with her after the craziness that she did at the Oscars.
I can't believe
and-
she even took her back
God.
at all.
Well, Betty at this point too is just thinking, I don't want to die on wagon train.
True story. What else am I gonna do?
True.
So she's like, I'm gonna work with Joan, but here are the conditions, and this is what I'm gonna do. But I love that she's celebrating with Bob, and they're having a good old time with that champagne. It
And
was
now
kinda
that Bob
awesome.
is partners too,
He's
so
living
they're
the
not
good life.
fighting against Jack Warner. It's
Exactly.
like this should be the ideal situation. This should have been their reward for everything that happened.
Exactly. But I
And
love that
yet-
Betty, it was kind of a great dig that Betty had to come to the front desk and kind of save Joan.
Yes.
Because she kind of had to throw that in her face, so that was pretty awesome.
Right, the concierge recognized Betty, it seemed, and
But
didn't
not
really
Joan.
That was
know
like
who
a
Joan
refreshing
was.
Pepsi Cola straight to the face.
That was pretty awesome. And she walks away with the champagne in a bucket, and she's like, "We'll see you on set, Joan, but get comfortable." And it was pretty awesome. She got to get that little
And
dig
then we
in.
see the double dig, the champagne she was grabbing. Joan goes back to her room, and even though she feels like she's been kind of, pushed down at this point, I am determined. I'm going to go into this project with the proper spirit. We're going to put this dreadful day behind us. I'm going to call up Bob and let him know we got here and let him know some of my notes. And instead, she hears Betty in the background.
having a good old time, giggling.
Hang on before the champagne gets flat.
That was amazing.
burn.
Amazing. Hey. Because, she went into Baby Jane with Bob kind of on her side. And then when she brought in Betty, they've been friends, but they formed a relationship. And I think she thought that I was going to, Joan loves that attention. And if someone's not paying her attention, you're going to get hell. So the fact that Betty is all cool and she's hooking her up at the front desk and now she's hanging out with Bob having a good time and Joan sitting in her hotel room with Mamacita.
Like Mamacita said, she's enjoying this.
Well, Betty and Robert had that little bonding moment when they were on set, and he was
Yeah.
out. She thought he was taking a pee, but he was crying about Harriet, right?
Yeah.
And then she
Expelling
said,
different liquids.
exactly. And she said, it hurts, but we can be alone together.
Low-key,
Yeah.
let's-
So I feel
yeah.
like
I don't know how
she's
to be
a shoulder to cry on.
I love it.
and,
She's like,
I love.
I was gonna say she just said that she's been through it 4 times. She's had 4
Yeah.
divorces, so
And
it's great.
that she, you'll get through it,
Yeah.
really giving him that encouragement. And we see that this is a genuine moment. She's not trying to get anything from Bob in this situation. She honestly cares about him. So,
I think
which
Betty's a good friend to have.
I
'Cause
think so, too.
She kept it real with him. She's like, "Is this something that you want?" Or your wife is a good woman, but we can be alone together. We can do this together. It's fine.
yeah,
So,
so heartbreaking. Bob saying, this was supposed to be all of us together,
Oh,
and all I'm
Bobby-o.
doing is looking around and saying, "This is what ruined my marriage."
next time, keep your penis in your pants, Bob. I'm just saying. And don't have your mistress on set. Have your wife on set.
Yeah, I think
Woo.
Just
maybe,
saying.
I don't think it's really, I think it's maybe like pin your zipper and then that won't be the issue. I don't think it's really the movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's a movie guy. I think it's you sleeping with other women and your co-stars.
Now, what do you guys think about that part where Betty was playing the part of a high schooler at that party? When they're on set and she said, you just shoot me from the back or find some other girl who looks like me. I wonder if that's factual. I didn't get a
wonder if
chance
that
to
really
look
did
that
happen.
up.
I don't know.
Because, for her to pull a younger girl
I know.
out of the group and push her up as one of the, actors, it just seems like
Well,
something
she wouldn't
Betty
show
may
her
not
face.
do. Oh, the younger
That's
girl.
what she was saying was don't show her face, put her face in the shadows,
missed that.
show like just the dress, and then I'll do the voice. So you don't see, like get a
Yeah.
look-alike girl.
Yeah.
Right.
We won't show her face at all.
Right.
But basically a body double.
Oh,
a
I
young
see.
body double. Yeah. Which, like they do that now.
Yeah,
It's
they
not-
do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like that's not an absurd request. Is if you're hanging out with, if you're older and you're playing.
Damn right, give me a body double.
Yeah, same. I would.
I'd take one now.
I was gonna say I'd do that right now.
Yeah.
It's like you put me next to a high schooler right now, and I'm like, no.
I'll take that
Can we
body
get one
double.
of these to stand next to the rest of these and pretend that I'm
Thanks.
one of these, but I'll be over here
Right.
You just hear my voice.
Smoking over there in the corner.
with the other old people
The
going.
other hags.
Right.
Just
Hags.
kidding. Just kidding. I had to say it.
Jack's favorite word, hags.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack.
I just can't. I gave you a stack of hag scripts. Pick one. Jack. God, and I feel
Jack
like
is
this is
horrible.
such a direct parallel to what I feel like is happening in so many studios even now.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, this happened. This was a great weird fluke. Let's make the exact movie again.
Yep.
And they're like, that isn't gonna work.
Not gonna work, bro.
It's not. And then every time they're surprised, and you're like, it's 1964.
Are you
Hello.
saying like with women or just a movie?
Just in
complete,
general, like
it?
they'll anything. Yeah, well, I feel like not even just remakes, but like when something. It's the same mentality of how one studio, like when Armageddon comes along, and they're like, "Oh, let's make Deep Impact."
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Some other
okay, guys,
outer
come on,
space
yeah.
thing.
Like, oh, this is what's hot right now. Let's make this exact same movie, but slightly different, and then we'll just have them at the exact same, like back to back.
Yeah.
So
It's like, no, that doesn't work.
yeah,
Come on.
it's not gonna. I don't know, but he's also looking through, seeing all of these other
Yeah.
companies making all of this movie, and even Straighjacket has made 2.4 million for
Ooh.
some other company that is not.
I love
Warner
it. I love how he gets the
so-
numbers told to him and what studio's doing what, and I'm like, Jack, just give it up, bro. Just give it up. Like you're not a nice person. Maybe if you were more nicer to your people, Joan and Betty would have probably made this
Yes.
movie with you. Not saying that they were like the greatest people to work with, but if you were a little better, maybe you would have got your Hagsploitation movie. And that's why the other companies and the other networks are doing bigger and better things.
It's like swallow your pride too,
Exactly.
buddy. Like
It's time to bow. That's why I feel like this episode was when people were either they had to fight for their last chance, and you see everyone
Yeah.
fighting for their last chance because they didn't want to go out as a failure. So I felt like one of those episodes.
Which is-
And back then, TV was, downgrade
Yeah.
for actors, it seemed.
I did love. Now she's on Wagon Train. She's on TV. Is that really a face America wants to see at dinner time? I don't think
I
so.
love the digs that they throw at each other.
So
good.
good.
You're so right.
Yeah.
Like TV to them back then was like, oh gosh, I come
Even
from theater.
now,
I'm
I
in the
feel like
movies.
people are kind of like that. And then now with like the digital
Really?
age, people are like, oh, well, this new medium, anytime there's a new media, I
Yeah.
feel like anybody from the old media kind of looks down on it a little bit until
they
it
actually
catches
are on
huge.
TV.
You see them kind
Yeah.
of crossing over here and
Because
there.
now you're starting to see a lot of movie stars on TV
Now,
now.
yeah. Whereas I think 20 years ago,
They would have never. It would have been like, oh, what are they doing on TV? They probably can't get a movie deal. Where it's now, it's like the thing to be on TV or to be on a
Yeah.
Netflix or Hulu or Amazon and go back to filming a movie.
And do commercials, too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty big.
and even now web series too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa Kudrow, I think, was like the first one to kind of do her own web series, and she was like, people are crapping all over this. Wait a few years and see if I'm right, and then
Smart.
Voila.
waited a few years.
She was right.
Look who was right.
That's right.
Like, damn,
Go,
Phoebe,
Lisa.
get it.
Phoebe, you get those coins, girl.
But yeah, I think that ultimately, just all of this, the most symbolic scene is at the end when Jack is finally kind of handed his own ass to him. When Bob is talking about like, listen, my clackers, buddy,
Most amazing
and then
thing.
just cigar lid closing.
I love it. I love that because Jack thought that he can keep throwing things at Bob. Bob's like, no, actually, no, we're going to actually be partners. Thank you. Nope, I'm getting this much. Nope, actually, no, I requested this and I'm getting this.
Yeah.
You can't have my
Literally
cigars.
extinguishing it.
I don't want
Just
your
like
cigars.
done.
I love it. I came to get my balls back. Take that, Jack Warner.
Oh, I
Most
love it.
amazing thing. I was really happy for Bob when he was able to stand up for himself. So, but like I said before,
I
he
just
was
love
not
the
able to
way-
stand up to
yeah.
anyone.
But I just love the way that this is shot, like just the super symbolic nature of like
Yeah.
these these scenes and how they're seamlessly cut together, like Ryan Murphy.
Amazing.
On it.
Amazing
Oh,
man.
fact, John Waters actually had went to one of the original Straight-Jacket screenings.
Really?
So I guess this episode's director, I forget his name, I meant to write it down, but he had done some research about the Straight-Jacket screenings, and he found some information that John Waters was a fan of William Castle, and so he offered John Waters the part.
Oh my
How
gosh,
legendary is
that's
that?
awesome.
Wow,
Yeah.
you get to play the part of someone that you love.
That you
and like.
admire.
Yeah, that's pretty. Ryan,
I love that.
such a great director because I feel like they pay attention to details and everything that Ryan Murphy creates. They just pay attention to everything, even with this show, down to like the trailers. And then I love when they go back and they shoot like the things from the 1940s, and it's literally on point when they're shooting the old movies.
Yeah.
They just pay attention to so much detail. So shout out to Feud.
This
FX,
show.
amazing.
I can't believe there are only 2 episodes left.
No! The scream that Joan did.
Yeah.
Only 2? Oh,
Well, I know
damn.
they're getting.
Feels like it's going so fast.
Yeah, I know they're going to be busy with Versace, the new crime story. They're casting for that and everything right now. So
I'm obsessed with anything Ryan does. I was obsessed. I was like really into OJ.
Oh,
My
so
friends
good.
thought I was weird.
So good.
I'm like, no, this is amazing because what I would do, I would watch OJ and I would YouTube literally the trial, and it was word for word.
You're kidding.
This is why I love Ryan Murphy, and this is why I say Feud is amazing. So I know Versace is just gonna be on point.
Oh man,
Like,
I love
it's going to be so
you.
glamorous and Miami and
so 80s and so
Ooh.
90s. Oh,
Of all
I
about it.
know.
I'm a stand. I'm here. I'm a stand. So.
I'm glad too,
Yeah.
though, that this was like OJ, kind of its own miniseries.
Yeah.
Because we know that the next 2 episodes, we're gonna get some resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just now starting to get into Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. So
Right. I'm excited to see the
I'm
next
so
two
excited.
episodes. This is sad. It's bittersweet because it went by so fast. And
it's the twilight of our
it's the Twilight
show.
It's midnight. No, it's one of those things where we've always been fans, but now with this show we can become fans again with the
Yeah.
ladies. And now that they're not here, it's like they still are here.
Yeah.
So that's why I really love Feud. So I'm sad that we only have 2 episodes left. Damn it. Well.
We should see if we can
I'm
do a
crying.
watch along with Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Letters
be cool.
to Daddy. But y'all, Blanche, y'all. I always have to say it. That's like something I want on my
love it.
voicemail. I just want that.
I love that.
Just that part. So I want someone to call me and be like, what
I
the
want that to be.
hell is
I'm
going
gonna
on?
make a
Blanche,
custom
y'all.
ringtone, and so it'll just be.
Yeah. My aunt used to quote, like, we randomly, like, in New York, shout out to my aunt, she's homesick, but we would, like,
Aw.
we watch old movies together back in New York, and we would literally just throw Baby Jane quotes at each other, so we'd randomly be like, but y'all, Blanche, y'all. So, great. So,
Oh, that's so
we had a
cute.
moment. I'm gonna
What do you
miss the
think was
show.
your favorite quote from this episode?
Ooh. Mine would have
wrote
to
some.
be, I wouldn't piss on Joan Crawford if she was on fire.
Yeah, I think probably same.
Yeah, I had a few quotes.
Just because that was real too.
I'd like when Joan offered to read both parts.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Another quote of mine is when I forgot his name, but he sends her the flowers, and she's like, he's 5 years older than me, and he's hotter than he's ever been. He's winning awards, and I'm pimping myself. So I really love that. I forgot who was. He's in oh God, I forgot. Sorry guys, don't kill me.
There was just so many
So
awesome
many great
lines
quotes.
this whole time. Even just, Harriet talking about you wear your slippers to lunch and you smashed all my Sinatra records. Like just that one little so good.
She's over it.
If you
Such a great
guys have
episode.
any favorite quotes,
Let us know.
let us know. Tweet at us. Keep the conversation going. Where
Yeah,
can we find
comment.
more from you guys?
You can find me everywhere at Lisa Mason Lee.
You guys can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom, and keep the comments coming. We love
Yeah.
them.
Yes, and you guys can find me on Twitter at Elena Jordan and on Instagram at That Elena Jordan Girl. You can find all of us here at BHL Online. And again, make sure that you comment, subscribe. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, all the good stuff. We can't wait to
Craziness.
see you
Oh, and
next
happy birthday
week.
to Raquel.
Yeah,
She's not here. Happy birthday,
Raquel.
Raquel. Hey, girl.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace out.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live. the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.